Frosty Fire 10 here. Welcome to a Spider-Man or Marvel Spider-Man 2 review. Yeah, let's have a little look around. There's the city. Isn't it amazing? Amazing. So I finished the story and a fair chunk of the side missions. And so let's just swing and glide and stuff. Sure. If you're considering buying the game, I think it's pretty simple, really. It's an expensive game. Okay, let's be frank. In Australia, it's $125, so this is much more than what's been the usual cost of a full price game. Now, is it worth that price? I think even if you're a die-hard superhero fan, I still find it a bit excessive, to be honest. It's a 25 to 30 hour, maybe 20 hours. You can beat it, pretty quick if you just fly through. There is challenge, of course. It does incentivize you to do the side missions and level up and get all the skills and upgrade your gadgets and all that sort of stuff. It does make it a lot easier if you upgrade certain gadgets as you go through. But no, it's not worth $125. It's not better than, yeah, that's really, isn't it? What is it? What are you comparing it to, I suppose, is the point. You compare it to the first game, and it's like building on the base of the first game. So if you really like the first game, of course you'll like this. I think there's no question of that in my mind, but it helps if you like Miles. If you don't like Miles, I think you won't like this, which is kind of, I don't think anyone really dislikes Miles. It's not really that. I mean, I'd say I have issues with the Peter Parker's voice actor. It's one of the things I actually don't think he's very good, and it has a lot to do with I've heard him a lot in other things. So it's when you hear him doing the same voice in multiple games and it not feeling appropriate in any game, even as a side character, I don't feel as though his believability is any good at all. There's a lot to do in this, so there's a lot of emotions to convey and all that sort of stuff, and I think he's mediocre. That's how I'll put it. He's just mediocre. So he's one of those guys that you would hire if you don't want to take any risks at all, which I understand. That's fine. For the most part, that's fine. Mary Jane, it's all fine. There's been, comments and things about how she doesn't look like the lady who did the lady who's based on the real life person. And that they, they changed her in the first game and the second game. It's still there. It's still, you can see it, but the resemblance, and I think certain lighting makes it more obvious that, it doesn't make it look as bad. So I do think you can take it out of in a bad lighting situation, make it look worse of an issue than it is, when really it's not that big an issue at all. I mean, in this game, they've done a good job with the side questing.
These don't look like happy plants.
And I feel as though for a game with some amount of check the boxes, as any open world game has, most open world have, it handles it well. It doesn't overdo it. I feel as though, yeah, it doesn't overdo it. The leveling and all that is fine. Some of the skills, yeah, most of them are good-ish. I mean, none of them really speak to me. The gadgets was where I put all my attention, because you can just spam the gadgets in certain situations. It makes it a lot easier. But having said that, the new parry mechanic they brought in, you need to learn how to use that, because that helps a lot in most of the boss battles. Parrying is very useful. And there's some attacks you can't parry and some attacks you can't dodge. So you do have to have somewhat of a brain going. At least on spectacular difficulty, which isn't the hardest difficulty, because you unlock the hardest difficulty afterwards. I think the game could have started with ultimate, to be honest. I don't feel... There was moments in some boss fights where it was a little frustrating, but for the most part, I think you could beat the game in spectacular difficulty not too bad. And I feel like it's even challenging in normal I've seen. So it's like, is it that big a deal? They could have just had Ultimate from the start. I think that would have been fine. They'll add a New Game Plus later, I'm pretty sure. So, but having said that, is the story worth playing multiple times? So this is kind of, maybe I'll be different here. I don't think it is. I don't feel it. But that said, I didn't, I wasn't massively in love with the first game either. I thought it was good, and it was great to swing, and it was great the world looked good, and I played the old Spider-Man games, so I've seen the things change. But, I don't know, with the state of, Marvel and superheroes and sort of the oversaturation and now the post sort of hype and all that sort of stuff, I'm not as excited as I used to be. Maybe just getting older, all that sort of jargon. Graphics in the game looks great. I mean, when I first booted or loaded in, I felt like the buildings don't look very good, which I think I still feel that way mostly, that they actually don't look good. But then I think that kind of reflects New York. I think that's the point, isn't it? Tell me if New York is better looking, but I think it's supposed to represent the actual, that the city doesn't actually look that good. But at times it does feel as though, again with my settings, I feel as though it doesn't. And I think that has a lot. It's like you'd say Ghost of Tsushima is the most beautiful open world game, and there's like no competition. I mean, there's some moments in Assassin's Creed Odyssey I think that look beautiful, and Origins as well, beautiful in a different way. But it's not a beautiful game. But it's just so good to see such a big world, that you can just swing around in. The swinging is really good. I've got the sensitivity at 0, so like the assist at 0, so you don't have any sort of support. You have to actually do it yourself, like the older games. So it feels a bit more challenging. Chase sequences are a bit more difficult, but it's pretty fair. And you can do loop-de-loops. And you got the wingsuit. I do feel as though you could take the wingsuit out, because it does make everything a lot easier. But then at the same time you can swim now, so you don't have to worry about, crossing the body of water and not being able to make it. So it does feel as though it opens up the city in a way that it kind of does take a little away from the swinging, but you can still choose to swing. So, I don't know, that's just being nitpicky. Not that big a deal. I mean, every game has a wingsuit now, so it's kind of a... I don't know, I feel like it does follow a lot of the trends of other open world games in that sense. So yeah, the story, I think it's pretty serviceable. I mean, yeah, that's really it. I wasn't enamored by it, but that said, it's a quality game. You can tell there's work, and there's a lot, going on. But having said that, I do think the way the crimes system is implemented is not that great. It just gives you tech parts, which you do need for upgrades, but it's kind of like... I mean, it's... The first game gave you more reward for them, but that said, it limited the use of them, so it couldn't just keep spawning them randomly to keep you entertained, but I don't find them particularly entertaining. The crimes aren't fun to solve. I mean, the car chase one is just the same thing over and over. You just press, square, and then maybe triangle or like onto the car, and then square to hit the dude, and then you're done. So some of the other ones are a little more going on. The Hunter ones, which is the Craven's faction. But that said, it's just, shooting the car turret if they show up with an extra car. You have these wind tunnels, which sort of give you make it easy to go around the city, which, again, maybe they're not necessary. You could argue that. So, it's the story's serviceable. The open world isn't... It's still not, I have a vision of an open world that's a bit different in terms of feeling like you're part of it. But having said that, they try. You know, they're trying. I mean, it's hard to... No, it's easy to put into words. I want the world to feel more alive, like you're more part of it. The Peter elements are quite... They don't matter too much. Like, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't earn any money. And then he, you know, maybe he gets a job, maybe he doesn't, but then... I'm not really sure how he survives other than Mary Jane supporting him financially. And just carrying him. But that said, that's not too big an issue either. I don't know. It's it's kind of one of those things where if the game was cheaper, I feel like I'd be happier with the purchase, more satisfied, because it is very expensive. The most expensive game at a base standard edition of any PlayStation 5 game. So, again, the prices being what they are, but it's like with the increases and things. But it is, you know, very expensive, so you do expect to get a lot out of it. And I feel like the big CGI special effects moments are good, you know, with the big cutscene stuff. But having said that, there's limited QTE events. But having said that, QTE is still not done in a way that actually... Most games don't do it in a way that adds too much value to the game. So there's a lot where big things are happening, but you're just a passenger. And then the combat... It's okay. I think the combat's fine. Like, so much of this game is, yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's good. And it's like, well, where are we going to go next? Are we going to go further? Do you even know, you know, the path forward? Do you even know how to make the world more alive? Because is it just a question of pacing? I mean, people talk about the Mary Jane sections, but they're okay. In my mind, they're just stealth, and you have a gun that can, you know, one-shot the later enemies, which makes no sense at all. You just give that to the police so you can actually help the city. But I don't know, it's that's not the biggest problem. I still feel like this is, you know, an 8 out of 10 game in my mind. It's not 9 out of 10, it's not 10 out of 10. There's no way in the world you give this game 10 out of 10 unless you're a big Spider-Man fanatic. There's just, you know, 25, 30 hours and you're done. 20 hours and you're done sort of stuff. It's like, is that... And then I wasn't, you know... I'm not enamored with the writing. But that said, it's just... It's not for me, it's for 13-year-olds, blah, 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 blah. Maybe not. Maybe that... No, that's bullshit. It's for everyone. So, if it's for everyone, it's got to be criticised for being for everyone. It's just got everything that... I'm just rambling. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think the game's... Well, from what you've seen, do you think that the game is the best game ever? I see so many people going, oh wow, this is amazing. And I'm like... Ghost of Tsushima is a better game. In a lot of ways. It doesn't have the traversal, but that said, Just Cause 2. I'd say Just Cause 2 is a better game. And that's... then that may sound wild to you. Like, that might be like, what? Just Cause 2? I'm like, yeah. Then Just Cause 2 is certainly better than Just Cause 3 and 4. That was just horrible performance issues. That said, no performance issues, except I've had multiple crashes. So I've had crashes, I've had glitches, visual bugs, a couple where I become very bright, glowing bright. That's not too big a deal. You know, there's a bit of in-terrain sort of stuff, but not too bad. It's just really the couple crashes I've had which have been a bit disappointing. Because even a game that's given a lot of criticism, Fallout 4, I never had any crashes until I started doing mods and stuff. But which is weird, you know, that was such a big thing for Bethesda. Even Fallout 4 had better performance. No, I didn't though, because the frame rate in the city is appalling. You get a 1 frame per second. So, you know, that's not quite the comparison. It's nice to swing, though. Everyone loves to swing. But I feel as though this is a game that if you wait for a discount and you get it for half the price, or, you know, maybe 25% off, I think you'll be very happy. And if you get it for 50% off, you're going to be very, very happy. And you'd be like, oh yeah, it's just not, for me, it's not worth the full price. Because it's such an excessively high price. So it's a single player game. They'll add DLCs, so you're not missing anything by waiting. No one's going to spoil the story for you. It's not, because it's just, that's just be dumb. It's honestly. That said, the trailers do spoil a lot, so that's kind of one of the things you're going to have to try and avoid. But then again, maybe you don't even need to. If you already, you know, love the franchise, chances are you've already bought the game. So in that regard, you know, what do you think? Do you think it's the best superhero game ever? Do you want them to stick to Spider-Man, or do you want them to integrate more? They've got the Avenger building. Do you think they should... Oh, they won't touch the Avengers and integrate them in any way, even if it's just in the same city. They won't do that though, because it's like they've been poisoned by Marvel's the Avengers game, so that's poisoned the water. So now they can't make it. I mean, they're making an Iron Man one. Let's see how they go on that. The wingsuiting's basically Superman. So there's that. I don't know. I do know. I don't know. It's a nice game to traverse around the world, but having said that, these fast travel things are just trying to take away a bit of the fun because they're just on rails. Just follow the channel. Oh, we'll do this one. We'll do this one. So you have a new slingshot maneuver, which you won't use too often because I just forget about it. It's a bit weird how down it goes. So I'll show you on just a basic terrain, and you'll see it's just a bit. Sometimes you don't quite have something to grab onto, so it doesn't. So I'll show you here. Which again, this sort of makes sense. I can understand. Let's see. What do we grab? So now we're grabbing. And then. Oh, it's finally working properly. You know what I mean if you play the game. But having said that, oh, I just keep talking. Eight out of 10. Yep, 8 out of 10. Music, nice. You know. These random chests of scrap, kind of stupid really, because you just don't get enough to be of any value. Early on, you feel like, oh, I should collect them, but you're better off just doing main missions until you get all these side missions unlocked. So they do hold back the side missions with story progress, which is fine. That way it doesn't feel as though they're overwhelming you with all the checkboxes. So you do want to complete them as they come along, some of them, so you don't feel as though you got a million to do at the end. I feel no motivation now that I've beaten the story to do any side missions at all. So I'm glad I did the ones I did while playing it. So now that I've finished, I'm more than happy to uninstall the game and never think about it again, really. Even with DLC, I wouldn't buy DLC for this. And a bit has to do with the bad writing. I mean, bad writing's a bit harsh. Just not amazing writing. Just not high quality, anything really profound. It feels it's lacking characters, or that the characters they have aren't that interesting. A lot of them. Yeah, I just don't find them interesting. I mean, we've done the movies, you know, there's been a lot of movies, and I just sort of, you know, yeah, I just, you've got to do a good job to really find a way to break new ground in a Spider-Man story. So I suppose that's where the, you know, Miles and the Spider-Verse stuff is, you know, has to go that direction, because that's the only way you can really break some new ground, or some ground. But this still feels like it's, you know, not going full that direction. It's kind of playing it safe. And then it's, you know, it's got the interesting elements of the game people are making videos about and saying how woke it is and all that sort of stuff. I feel as though that's totally irrelevant. And like, if you're nitpicking at that, you're missing just the basic writing. That is the real issue of just the story itself. But yeah, I mean, it's a good game. There's no question it's a good game. Like, you can't just... It's fun to go around, and then the fighting's okay. I kind of wish the finisher system was different. I don't like the finisher system in this, where you either heal or you use your finisher. So like, you get at max you get 3 finishes you can use, but you want to save some of those for heals. So it's like, it doesn't feel like the Batman system. So it's not as snappy. Of course, it's not as snappy combat wise. It's just they don't have the talent to be that snappy. That's just the reality of it. But it's you kind of forgive that with the agility of Spider-Man. So you kind of the dodging and all that sort of systems make you feel as though they have leeway in terms of it not being as crisp, like with double parries and all that sort of stuff like that. But it's, again, that's not that big an issue. But it's kind of, that's the point. All the reviews you'll hear, they'll be nitpicking, because for the most part, it's a really good game and should be, you know, 8 out of 10. Wait till it's on a discount and then you get great value for your money. Buy it at full price, and depending on your love of the series, I think you'll be fine. You'll probably be, you know, somewhat happy. 30 hours in or whatever. Maybe you play it again, you go New Game Plus. Maybe you develop that habit from the first game and you play through again. I can't see myself doing that. Power to you. Going for the 100% and all that sort of stuff with trophies. Again, I can't see the point of that. I can't feel the point of that. Like, I 100% of Dead Island 2. So, and I felt that. The reason for that. And it had some side quests in that that were very emotional. And there's some side missions in this that are emotional too. But having said that, the Dead Island ones are better. Like, they're post-campaign though, so most of the reviewers missed them. Not all of them though, so it's kind of sad. But yeah, it does a lot right, the basics right, but I feel as though it's missing some things. And it's a result of the story's design, its structure, that it's missing a few elements I think that could have added some value. You know, stuff like change of season and all that sort of thing. Which maybe they'll do. We'll see. We'll see what DLC brings. Because it may, you know, alleviate some of my concerns about it. So maybe a better game once... Well, of course it'll be a better game once all the DLC's out. Assuming they go from the same structure as the first game. But yeah, if you like the look of the traversal, which is the best part of the game, you know, you can give that a go. I mean, it doesn't have the sling movement from Just Cause, which is nice with the wingsuit in Just Cause 3, where you could use your... I don't know why. You can't just use your sling as your wingsuiting so you can propel yourself forward. You can pull yourself forward, you know? Add more momentum. It kind of confuses me that they implemented a wingsuit and didn't look at other games with wingsuits and just go, oh, that one's got a much better system. You just steal that. It's like, so you can wingsuit and then you could grab and then you can keep momentum. And there's a bit of skill to that too. Yeah, it's odd. It's odd the things it misses like that, and the combat. Some of the combat design I think is annoying with the ranged enemies. Ranged enemies are a pain in the ass, and the laser thing where they aim at you, even though that's, you know, a Batman thing as well. I don't like that at all. I feel as though there could have been more depth to the combat. And certain enemies that challenge you to do things differently, they don't appear that often. And that's it, there's not enough. Just not enough little bit of variance. And the way that the powers are all managed is like, it's kind of, you know, if you're a real traditionalist with Spider-Man, I think you'd be a bit, with all the different sort of powers that come in, it's like, we got a whole bunch of stuff now. Smorgasbord of all different abilities. So I feel like they added the more in that regard when they could have added more to the enemy design, and some of the enemy design is invalidated by the Mary Jane stuff. It's like she can just one-shot everything. It's like, what the heck? Yeah, I'm rambling. So yeah, yeah. All right. I recommend the game, but I do recommend you wait for it to be cheaper because you're not missing anything. Like, you'll feel happier if you get it cheaper. Patient gamers for the win here. Absolutely. Now, if you're getting it for, you know, a younger sibling or a kid or something, that makes sense too. That's fine. There's some sort of adult concepts with the story. I don't know. Not too bad. Like, I don't think I'd be too worried about, like, a 12-year-old playing it or anything. Or they just, you know, if they're younger than 10, they're probably just going to swing around. Maybe do some combat, and you could just, you know, keep an eye on them, that sort of stuff. But for the most part, it's fine. I suppose it's really if you're squeamish about, you know, people getting killed or badly maimed, badly injured. When they smash into walls and things and all that sort of stuff. All the henchmen who are just continue to be anonymous, irrelevant garbage. Which is that's one of the things I don't like. And that can apply to a lot of games, really. Where I feel as though that the people that are the henchmen, they mean nothing. And their lives mean nothing. And I feel as though that's wrong. That's just flat out wrong. Yeah. There's my thoughts, my feelings, and yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I made some sense. Maybe I haven't. One of those things where maybe you need to play the game to understand, but yeah, tell me, what do you think? Have I been too harsh? Am I being silly? I mean, I'm calling an 8 out of 10. Which is a high rating. I mean, anything in a 9 is crazy good. And there's no games that there's a 10, unfortunately. I mean, unless you're purely, you know, nostalgia-driven. And the context around it adds, like, to the rating to get you a 2 or 10. The time of your life and all that sort of stuff. Or, you know, or it's able to deliver a profound message that's empowering and heartfelt, which I don't think the story does. That's the thing. I don't think the story does deliver a powerful message. I feel as though some of the language is weird. That's how I'll term it, weird. Now, other people will term it something else, but I think it's just weird. And I think... yeah, okay. I think Mary Jane and Peter should break up. I don't think their relationship is... I mean, halfway through the game they should break up, definitely. But, you know, they stay true and all that sort of stuff. But it's just... yeah, it plays it safe and then... does some stuff that's... you know, fine. It's just whatever. But at the same time, I don't feel as though you really tap into the core of society in the game. You know, tap into the core of the New Yorkers. I feel like we miss a good scene towards the end where everyone unites, and there was a way to do it. There was a way that people could have been involved, because you know your enemy at the end that does have a glaring weakness. And you can take advantage of that. People can take advantage of that. The regular people. They could have had the whole city rally together and take advantage of the weakness. And I think that would have been brilliant. It would have been much better. But so much of this is Spider-Man saving the world. And it's like, I feel like there's a bit missing. And you say, oh, there's some side missions. And, yeah, not enough. Not enough in terms of feeling like you're part of a larger city and part of this world. And that could have just been more like a TV show thing on the side and you stop and watch it, or like something on your app, an actual discussion thing, or just people interviewing people on the street saying, you know, singing the song with the Spider-Man with the guitar. I feel like the movies, the Tobey Maguire movies, do a better job of the city and feeling like it's behind Spider-Man, or nervous about him. I feel like they do a much better job conveying that feeling of him being a part of the city and a part of people's lives. And you say, oh, you save people in a crime thing and then take them to an ambulance. That's so stupid. That thing's just so... There's a couple of just repetitive, silly things like that that are just like, oh. You wouldn't ever... Someone hurt and injured, you're not going to carry them on your back as you sling through the city to an ambulance. That's just absolute stupidity. You're just going to hurt them. I mean, have spinal damage. You're just going to kill them, possibly. Or really badly damage them. I mean, it's ludicrous. So there's a lot of... Again, you can question realism. It's a superhero thing, of course. But it's just... Yeah, it's a game you can nitpick. And for various reasons. But it's quality. It's quality. You know, it passes the minimum bars easy. Is it the best game ever? Obviously not, in my mind. Is it better than... So I'll say Red Dead Redemption 1 is a better game. Like, it's a million times better story. And better characters. And better voice acting. So it's like... And a better open world. And it's just from the feelings that it creates in me of the open world. This one is great for traversal, just fun to swing around. If you love your swinging, if you're a swinger, you'll be happy. But it doesn't have the depth. And this could also be just a part of just the nature of Spider-Man itself, in terms of the superhero is excluded from other people and feels a separation, while at the same time trying to connect with them to save them. It's kind of like, you are different, you are special. Everyone else is lesser. Such supremacy, Spider-Man supremacy. But it is like that. It's like their lives mean nothing. But you can save them, but you can also just go past the crimes. You don't have to, intervene. You can just go past them. You're not penalized. The game doesn't penalize you for letting people die. And then all the destruction of the city and things during some of the cutscenes and some of the sequences, people are dying. Surely people are dying. And so there is some legitimacy saying that you're part of the problem. But it's the old cat out of the bag. Once it's started down that road, it's got to keep going. So Ghost of Tsushima's got a better open world and better combat. All the different skins are pretty good. They look nice. They don't offer any functional difference, which is fine. Really, that's fine. The collectibles are all okay. There's not too many. It's not overbearing. I feel like it's a game that'll go down smooth for a lot of people, and then they'll move on to something else. Which is what I'm going to do. That's it. Go down relatively smooth. Maybe they'll jar a little bit with some of the dialogue. Just some little things here and there that are just like... there's a difference between being a nice human being who respects others and being a sycophant. And I think that that line has been blurred a fair bit in modern society. So it's one thing to appreciate people and be kind to them and then treat them with respect. And there's another thing to worship the ground that they walk on. In a way that's just kind of... It's really condescending if you tackle the root of it.
They're not trading baseball cards. Better move in.
Alright, let's do a combat sequence and then finish up. And so what I do is...
Hate to interrupt the business meeting, but wait, no, I don't. Where'd those symbiotes come from?
Oh. Oh, I'm dead. So yeah, this is spectacular difficulty after all. And I got my HUD off, so I can't see my health. Spoilers! It's alright. Not many people watch the whole video anyway. So yeah, that's the tall and short of it. It's not the best game ever made, but it's a good game. Is it the model of next gen? No, it hasn't got the best graphics. There's really no competition. I think The Last of Us Part 2 has the best facial graphics and world graphics that I've seen. I feel as though this is obviously worse. The facial capture and facial animations are worse. They're nowhere near as good as Last of Us 2, and that was on PlayStation 4. It's not the best graphical game. Now, does it have the best performance of a PlayStation 5 game? Maybe, but does that matter? Yeah, it's alright. I mean, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was one of the first proper 60 FPS games on PlayStation 5, and didn't matter because the game was shit. So, it's kind of like, you know, you can bear with anything if the game is well written and the game is fun. So, you know, as time has proven. But that said, there's still, you know, expectations and all that sort of stuff. Is it a victim of high expectations? No, not really. I think it's pretty much what you'd expect. So more of the same. And that's from the writing point of view as well. Yeah, but I think the emotional weight for me wasn't there. And that's just my... the characters I don't think they're good. And I didn't buy the main voice actor, and his portrayal is pretty, again, mediocre. I think he's mediocre, and that hurt my whole experience of the game, because, you know, when you think the main voice actor is mediocre, it's a bit hard to really get too emotionally invested in anything. It just kind of feels like everything's just a safe, stock standard superhero trope with the safe, stock standard voice actor. I kind of wish our webs would just hang everywhere. We just got webs all over the city. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I've rambled. I keep rambling. I can't stop. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I'm full of crap. It's just my opinion. What's your opinion? Give me some, you know, reasons too. Yeah. Alright then, it's been Frosty Fire 10. With Marvel Spider-Man 2. Wait for a discount and you'll be very, very happy. Catch you next time. Like and subscribe or dislike and all that jargon. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.